So the NBA season is right around the corner, and as a result, I do want to come out with my predictions for how I think this year is going to play out. And of course, before this video does get started, hit that like button if you enjoyed, since it really does help out the channel. And of course, subscribe if you guys are new and you guys enjoy this type of content. But without further ado, let's go ahead and let's get this video started. Alright, let's start things off with the Eastern Conference. At number 15, I got the Indiana Pacers. No surprise there. 13 and 14, 13 I got the Magic, and 14 I have the Pistons. Both of these teams, I think at their absolute max, could be a play-in level contender, like a play-in contender. However, in the Eastern Conference, it's very tough, and, both of these teams, they're still young, and I think, at the end of the day, both of these squads, they're still not really focused on trying to win right now, so, as a result, I do have them finishing with bottom 3 seeds, but again, they could be as high as maybe a play-in level team. 12, I have the Hornets. I gotta say, I really did not like their offseason. LaMelo Ball, he's amazing. I think he's going to be an all-star this season, or at least play like an all-star this season. However, the team around him just isn't exactly phenomenal, and as a result, I just don't really see the Hornets being too much this year. 11, I have the Knicks. The Knicks, I gotta say, I think they're just going to be mediocre this year. I think a lot of it really just comes down to, I guess, their supposed big three of R.J. Barrett, Jalen Brunson, and Julius Randle. I mean, Randle needs to have a bounce-back year. R.J. Barrett needs to take a leap, and I am pretty high on him heading into this year. And Jalen Brunson, he just really has to, play kind of like a borderline all-star level, to be honest, if he wants to show that he really deserves that contract. But, the Knicks, the best way to really put them as, to really just describe them is a play-in contender that's really just mid, to be honest. Number 10, I have the Wizards. The Wizards, I think they're going to be alright this year. Bradley Beal, I think, should be in for a bounce-back season. Kristaps Porzingis, I think, will be solid, and same thing with Kyle Kuzma. And there are a few things to like about them, but at the end of the day, I just don't see them amounting to much, and I think they're going to be, like, around the Knicks level. Number 9, I have the Bulls. The Chicago Bulls, I think, I gotta say, I'm just not really high on them heading into this year. Lonzo Ball, obviously, the complications around his injury are a big reason why. Not to mention, DeMar DeRozan, who knows if he can repeat the kind of success he had in the regular season. And again, the Eastern Conference is really tough, and there's just a lot of teams out there that I think are better than the Bulls in the East. Number 8, I have the Atlanta Hawks. The Hawks, I think they should be a pretty good team this year, but again, the conference is really tough. But I could see them being as high as possibly a 5 seed, but I got them at the 8 seed. 7, I have the Raptors. The Raptors, there's a lot to like about this team. They got a pretty good, squad. Pascal Siakam and Fred VanVleet are all-star level players. You got OG Anunoby and, of course, Scotty Barnes and, lots of other guys as well. They got a nice team. However, I am concerned about their depth. And, I've said this before, of course, throughout the video so far. But the Eastern Conference, it's very tough. So I think they're going to go as far as, I guess Scotty Barnes takes them. I think a lot of it really hinges on how good Scotty Barnes is this season. And I think he'll be good. But again, the East, it's really tough, and, even though they did add some nice bench pieces, I'm still a little bit concerned about their depth. 6, I have the Nets. The Nets, simply put, are just the weirdest team in the NBA. We know they have the talent to be a title contender, but at the same time, when you factor in all the weird stuff, around them, it's just really hard to put a lot of faith in this team. I think the Nets will be good, but I don't really expect them to be a top 3 seed like their talent might suggest. Number 5, I got the Miami Heat. Putting them at 5 could be a little bit shocking to some, but The East, there were a lot of teams that just got way better, and along with that, the Miami Heat, I didn't really love their offseason. They still lack a second shot creator, and their power forward spot, it's really bad to say the least. Now, I could definitely see a world where Eric Spoelstra and Jimmy Butler help lead this team to like a top 3 seed in the regular season. But again, the Eastern Conference, there's just a few teams that I think are better and teams that I think improved. And the Heat, again, I also got my issues with them. 4, I have the Cavaliers. I think they're going to be a really good regular season team, and they could be as high as maybe the best seed, the 1 seed or like the 2 seed. I think they're going to be a really good regular season team, and I really do like this squad. You got that elite backcourt of Darius Garland and now Donovan Mitchell. I love Evan Mobley, and I also do like Jarrett Allen and some of the bench pieces they have, not to mention JB Bickerstaff is a good coach. It's just like the teams I have above them I think are at the moment just better, and my only issue with the Cavs is the fact that, their backcourt is very undersized, so I am kind of concerned how that's going to be in the playoffs, but, the Cavs should be a good regular season team, and I think they're going to be really good this year, obviously. 3, I got the 76ers. I mean, I'm a massive Doc Rivers hater. I don't know if they really are a true title contender, simply because I don't believe in him as a head coach. But the 76ers should have a great regular season. Joel Embiid is one of the best players in the league, and I think Doc can at least give them a good regular season record. Plus, you got James Harden, who I think is in for a bounce-back season. You got Tyrese Maxey, and plenty of good role players. And yeah, because of that, I think the 76ers should be like a top 3 seed in the East this year, at least in the regular season. 2, I have the Boston Celtics. I could see them getting off to a bit of a slow start because of their interim head coach, but I think that they will be fine for the most part. Maybe they have some growing pains like in the the beginning of the year, but I think they'll be great this year and finish as the 2 seed. Number 1, I got the Bucks. The Bucks are obviously one of the best teams in the NBA, and I think they're pretty much bound to do good in the regular season. You got Giannis Antetokounmpo, you got Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton, a lot of good role players, and Mike Budenholzer, he's a little bit hot and cold as a head coach, but he is a good regular season head coach, and I just feel like the Bucks are such a good regular season team, and I think they're just going to get the number 1 seed because of how good they are in the regular season. Now moving on to the Western Conference, at number 15, I have the Utah Jazz. Look, the Jazz, they're just going to be awful this year, to put it quite simply. They're just trying to find the young guy, just find, pieces to help lay the foundation for their rebuild. 14, I got the Spurs. I mean, I know Greg Popovich, he could definitely make this team better than anticipated, but I think this is going to be the year where San Antonio truly tries to tank. And, this team also just lacks talent in the Western Conference. It's pretty good, and there's a lot of teams that are just way better than them. 13, I have the Houston Rockets. Trading away Christian Wood obviously hurts their chances of trying to win now. And I don't think they are trying to win now. I don't think Rockets fans would really disagree with that statement. There's a lot of young talent here, but again, it's another year of them trying to rebuild. 12, I have the Thunder. The Thunder, if they had Chet Holmgren, I would actually, consider possibly them as a play-in contender. I think if they did have him, that they could be as high as a play-in team, similar to the Magic and the Pistons. However, they don't have Chet for this season, and I think they're just kind of dead set on trying to rebuild again this year, so yeah, the Thunder, I don't really expect them to be that good. Granted, I don't think they are going to be like a 20-win, 15 seed. At number 11, I have the Los Angeles Lakers. I think they should be better than last year. I mean, last year was just a damn disaster, to say the least. But, I like some of the additions they made. However, at the end of the day, I think the one thing holding them back is Russell Westbrook. As long as he's there, I don't think the Lakers are really going to do much, no matter what kind of role they try to put him in, I just don't think Russell Westbrook is a good fit on this team. And, I just think he's a massive negative, simply put. 10, I have the Sacramento Kings. The Kings, I actually do have quite a bit of faith in. Mike Brown, he seems like he could be a pretty good head coach. Was, I believe, like an assistant head coach for Golden State, and a big reason why their defenses were so good for a long time. And, you also got De'Aaron Fox, Domantas Sabonis, and plenty of nice supporting pieces around them. And I think Keegan Murray is going to have a great rookie season. So I think the Kings should be a play-in team, or at least a play-in contender at the very least. And maybe they do make the playoffs. It's very possible that they end up making it to the playoffs for the first time in, ages? Number 9, I got the Portland Trailblazers. They made a lot of moves this offseason, and they aren't really bad moves, but at the same time, I don't really think this team is like a title contender, and I think they are still kind of like a low playoff seed play-in contender type team. Number 8, I got the Phoenix Suns. I gotta say, I think the Suns are in for a massive drop-off. The vibes around them just seem so negative. Chris Paul, he's declining in it. I don't know if DeAndre Ayton really wants to be there. Plus, Jay Crowder's probably on his way out. So, as a result, I do have the Suns at the 8th seed. But I could see them being higher than this. But even if they are like a top 5 seed, I don't really believe in them as a true title contender. 7, I have the Memphis Grizzlies. It was pretty hard putting them here at 7, but the Western Conference, it kind of just got better this year with some teams like the Nuggets and Clippers being healthy, and same thing with the Pelicans in a way. The Timberwolves also getting better, and of course we got the Warriors. So the Western Conference, there's just some teams who I think just got a whole lot better, and right now I think they're just better than the Grizzlies, but I could see them being higher than this, but again, the Western Conference, it got better. Same thing kind of applies to the Dallas Mavericks when you consider the fact that they made it all the way to the WCF, but, there's a lot of teams who I think are just going to do better in the regular season, and while I could see the Mavericks being a top 5 seed, like the Grizzlies, right now, I just think the teams I have above them are just better, Luka Doncic is amazing. I think Christian Wood should have a career season, and you got nice role players, and Jason Kidd, even though he's a horrible person, he is a good basketball head coach, so, the Mavericks could be better than this, but, again, the teams above them I think are just better. 5, I got the Pelicans. I'm super high on the New Orleans Pelicans. I love this team. Zion is going to be back. You got Brandon Ingram, plenty of good role players and supporting pieces, and Willie Green is also a very good head coach. And, I think this team is a dark horse title contender. 4, I have the Timberwolves. Regardless of what you think of them, in the playoffs, personally, I think the Wolves are actually like a pretty good team. I think they are like a borderline contender, but I think they should be great in the regular season. They obviously added Rudy Gobert, who I think should make their defense like top 3. He's just that good defensively, and they were already not that bad last year. In fact, they were pretty good. Plus, you got Karl Anthony Towns, Anthony Edwards, D'Angelo Russell, some nice supporting pieces, and Chris Finch as your head coach. So yeah, I got the Timberwolves at the 4 spot, and they could be higher. 3, I have the Clippers. They could be as high as the 1 seed if they do stay, pretty healthy throughout the year, but I just don't bank on that happening. However, I think they should be, pretty healthy and healthy enough to the point where they get a top 3 seed in the Western Conference. But again, I could see them being as high as a 1 seed. You got Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, a very deep team around them. And you got Ty Lue as a head coach. A very nice team. They just got to stay healthy. 2, I have my favorite team, the Denver Nuggets. I think we could be in, the 1 seed. Even, I might be a Nuggets fan, so I am a little bit biased when I say that. But I don't think that's really that egregious of a take. Nikola Jokic is arguably the best player in the NBA, the back-to-back MVP. You got Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. returning, which is obviously going to be massive for them. A lot of good role players. Michael Malone is a pretty good head coach, and I think the Nuggets are going to be great in the regular season. And at number 1, I do have the reigning champs in the Golden State Warriors. You know, the Warriors, I know they did have a little bit of that scuffle with Draymond Green and Jordan Poole, but, you know, while I could see that affecting them a little bit this year, and while I could see them, you know, kind of coasting a little bit in the regular season, like maybe they're just a 3 seed rather than the 1 seed, I think they should still be great in the regular season, and I think they'll end up with the 1 seed. Now I'm going to get into my play-in predictions. For the East, I got the Bulls beating the Wizards, then the Raptors beating the Hawks. Then for the final playoff spot, I got the Hawks beating out the Bulls. And then for the West, I got the Blazers beating the Kings, the Suns beating the Grizzlies, but the Grizzlies end up beating the Blazers to get that final playoff spot. Now let's get on to my official playoff predictions. For the East, I got the Bucks beating the Hawks 4-1. Then I got the Celtics beating the Raptors 4-2. Then the Nets actually upsetting the 76ers 4-3. Reasoning, I said it before, I don't believe in Doc Rivers. Then I got the Cavaliers beating the Heat in a very grueling 7-game series. For the second round, I got the Celtics beating the Nets 4-2. Then I got the Bucks beating the Cavs 4-2. Then I have the Bucks beating the Celtics 4-3 in the Eastern Conference Finals, and the Bucks obviously go to the finals. Now for the Western Conference playoffs, I got the Warriors beating the Grizzlies in a 6-game series. Then I have the Nuggets beating the Suns in 5 games. Then I have the Clippers beating the Mavericks in a super grueling 7-game series. And then, you know, this was so tough, man. I went back and forth, but I went with the... Man, this is so tough. You know what? I'm going to go with the Timberwolves to very, very slightly edge out the Pelicans in 7 games. You know, this series is going to be as close as it gets, man. I had a super tough time deciding who was going to win. I'm a big believer in both teams, and I think they're both great, obviously, but... Could go either way. I wouldn't blame you for picking either team to win this series. For the second round, I got the Warriors beating out the Timberwolves. Then I got the Nuggets barely squeaking out a victory versus the Clippers. And then finally, unfortunately, I do have the Warriors slightly beating out the Nuggets in a 7-game series. That sets us up with the finals with the Bucks and the Warriors, and the Warriors, in my opinion, do not end up repeating as back-to-back champs, and I got the Bucks beating them in a 7-game series, and, you know, finals MVP is going to be Giannis. I mean, who else would it be, unless Chris Middleton or Drew Holiday just turned into Lord Shiva. But anyways, that's going to do it for the season predictions. I'll go through the awards quickly. MVP, this might be a bit of a hot take. I got Jason Tatum. Defensive Player of the Year, I have Bam Adebayo. Rookie of the Year, I have Paolo Banchero. Most Improved Player, I got RJ Barrett. Sixth Man of the Year, I got Jordan Poole. And then to wrap things up with Coach of the Year, I got JB Bickerstaff of the Cleveland Cavaliers. But hey, with that being said, that's going to do it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. It really means a lot to me. Again, like, subscribe, do all of that stuff. And then check me out on social media. The links to my Twitter and Instagram, they're in the description below. But without further ado, I'm out, you guys.